Hello guys, my name is Dominic Jan Palaka and I am going to discuss to you about the long-term sources of funds and the best source of financing. So just relax and enjoy the video. So hello everyone, welcome to the presentation of long-term sources of funds. So before we start, there are three classifications of long-term sources of funds. These are the long-term debts, common stocks, and retained earnings. So we are going to discuss them one by one. So first, let's talk about long-term debts. Long-term debts is a type of loan that extends from 1 year up to 20 to 30 years. The main goal for this type of loan is to buy some major assets such as equipment and buildings. It is also a collateral on the loan, and it is the common source of financing for business owners. Long-term debts are classified into term loans and bonds. Term loans. A term loan is a loan from a bank for a specific amount that has a specified repayment schedule and either a fixed or floating interest rate. Bonds. A bond is a fixed income instrument that represents a loan made by an investor to a borrower, typically corporate or governmental. Next is common stocks. Common stocks are shares from owners in a corporation that afford their holders voting rights. They vary from preferred stocks in two ways. And lastly is retained earnings. It is the amount of net income left over for the business after it has paid out dividends to its shareholders. Now, the best source of financing. We're going to discuss about that. So first, we have the 7 sources startup financing. And it is the personal investment when starting a business. Your first investor should be yourself, either with your own cash or with collateral on your assets. This proves to your investors and bankers that you have a long-term commitment to your project and that you are ready to take risks. Love money. This is money loaned by spouse, parents, family, or friends. Investors and bankers consider this as patient capital, which is money that will be repaid later as your business profits increase. Venture capital. The first thing to keep in mind is that venture capital is not necessarily for all entrepreneurs. Right from the start, you should be aware that venture capitalists are looking for technology-driven businesses and companies with high growth potential in sectors such as information technology, communications, and biotechnology. Angels. Angels are generally wealthy individuals or retired company executives who invest directly in small firms owned by others. They are often leaders in their own field who not only contribute their experience and networks of contacts, but also their technical and or management knowledge. Business incubators. Business incubators or accelerators generally focus on the high-tech sectors by providing support for new businesses in various stages of development. However, there are also local economic development incubators, which are focused on areas such as job creation, revitalization, and hosting and sharing services. Government grants and subsidies. Government agencies provide financing such as grant and subsidies that may be available to your business. Next is bank loans. Bank loans are the most used source of funding for small and medium-sized businesses. Consider the fact that all bankers offer different advantages, whether it is personalized service or customized repayment. It is a good idea to shop around and find the bank that meets your specific needs. Scott Lawrence and Haley Charles has 7 factors recommended for knowing the best source. Number 1 is flexibility. Some fund sources impose certain restrictions on the activities of the borrowers. An example of a restriction is prohibition on the insurance of additional debt instruments by the borrower. Number 2, risk. It talks about the company being affected as it undergoes financing. Number 3 is income. It is required when a firm borrows money from the owner and makes sure that the firm will generate enough money for themselves. 4 is control. It is required for the new owners of the business to take control in the means of financing for them not to lose the business in such an early stage. Number 5 is timing. There are times that certain means of financing has its own benefits. Business owners need to utilize this to maximize income. 6th is collateral values. Collateral values is one of the key aspects considered by lenders when reviewing applications for secured loans. Number 7 is flotation costs. Incurred by a publicly traded company when it issues new securities and incur expenses such as underwriting fees, legal fees, and registration fees. And that's all. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the video. Bye bye.